A movie that I saw almost a year ago at South by Southwest is finally coming to HBO Max. But is it worth your time? Let's talk about it. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. The Fallout is the brand new film dropping that I was so excited to talk about. Didn't know when it was releasing. We're finally getting it, and I believe this is a movie that a lot of people should check out. Why do I feel that way? Let's get into it. Spoiler-free, of course. This is one that I won't go much deeper than the trailer to save the experience for you guys. Bolstered by new friendships forged under sudden and tragic circumstances, high schooler Vada begins to reinvent herself while reevaluating her relationship with her family, friends, and her view of the world. Moving away from her comfortable family routine, she starts to take chances with a series of quicksilver decisions that test her own boundaries and push her into new directions. She's spending more time with a girl by the name of Mia, and Vada is slowly redefining herself through shared experiences as both of these characters, and really an entire group of people, are dealing with the aftermath of a tragedy. I won't say exactly what that tragedy is, but I do love the restraint shown by our director. Megan Park does such a wonderful job of allowing us to learn who these characters are without knowing too much until, boom, the tragedy hits. She also wrote the script, and there's a lot of great dialogue here, some very moving moments within this circumstance, and the circumstance is going to kind of be the talk of the town once the movie releases around this tragedy, again, that happens at this school. But you have two very different characters. Vada, played by Jenna Ortega, Mia, played by Maddie Ziegler, and you get an idea immediately as to who both of them are. Going to Mia's house for the first time, experiencing kind of what her upbringing was like compared to Vada, and the differences are obvious, nothing subtle about them, but they both share this experience that kind of brings them together in such an uplifting and almost rejuvenating way. But it's not only that, right? Because of what she was there experiencing firsthand, she has to talk to others. Sometimes they're older, sometimes they're younger, but at the end of the day, those who shared this experience together, the film does a great job of painting the picture of, well, they can confide in each other and kind of put aside those differences. You see how this lingers with our character. Ortega does such a wonderful job and already crushing it earlier in the year. Well, a couple of weeks ago in Scream. But me seeing this last year, and I've seen Ortega before, but this was the first time when I looked at her and said, you know what? Not only is this a great performance, this is a performance that could be at least talked about at the end of the year. And that could be the case here. But back to the subtlety of our director, Megan Park, bringing us a film that could have easily taken a different direction. And according on what the movie's trying to do, that direction can either work or not work. In this case, the story that they're telling, refraining from showing us certain things and just kind of hearing what's going on at this school as opposed to showing it or being as in your face about it. I like that because this is much more of a character study than anything. And rather than doing the obvious, Park decides to take the more simplistic route, which is the best route. You get these long takes just sticking with our character as she is feeling the emotions. One of my favorite shots in this film is our character still dealing with what literally just happened, and her younger sister in the background looks like she's making a TikTok, she's doing the dancing. I think the shot's actually in the trailer, and you have this very real and tragic thing happening over here, but in the background, it's your standard, well, kids, they're just gonna keep being kids, and it's sad to say some kids are used to these types of things happening, and not necessarily to them, but seeing tragedies like this on the news, it feels like every couple of weeks. The movie does a great job of painting the picture of the anger that these kids feel in the aftermath. And even if it wasn't directed at them specifically, there's a great scene with Vada and her father where he just tells her to let all of that anger out. It almost reminds me of a scene last year with Come On, Come On, my favorite movie of the year. Very similar, actually, but a very different situation, obviously. Just great dialogue, great banter, and a nice relationship between she and her father that is slowly brought to light a bit more as the movie progresses. And it's not all tragic and emotional. You get the lighter moments, the quirkiness between the characters, the fact that these two girls are so different, even in their approaches, but the longer they spend time together, the more they learn about each other. I really appreciated that relationship and just how it played out. It was real. That's how it felt. Also, Maddie Ziegler, who was in Music last year, terrible movie, she totally redeems herself in this film. A great performance. So when I watched this movie, I didn't exactly know what it was about, so I was kind of iffy about the beginning because you get those genre cliches. They're in the forefront before we get to that tragedy. Once the tragedy happens, it becomes much more serious. It is difficult to balance those tones. Is it becoming too quirky at points, and then it gets extremely emotional again? And I do believe a lot of people are going to take issue with the ending. I didn't mind it. It felt real to me, but there are some elements when we get to the way that it all wraps up that people are going to take issue with. And just the overall resolve, the fact that it did drag during certain moments. I do wish there were scenes that were cut just a little bit, a bit shorter to get it to a tighter runtime, but those are kind of minor complaints at the end of the day. It's an emotional experience. That's what the film intends on being, and I do believe it works. So before I give you guys my score, thank you so much for watching. If you like this review, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below. Leave a comment, please. Vada's experience brings about trauma, pain, unexpected emotions, and a friendship with someone she never expects. The film may occasionally be too much for its own good, and the characters don't always get the proper moment they deserve, but the idea behind this film and execution is top-notch, and I thought this was a pretty great movie. I'm going an 82%. This one is worth a watch. Again, just like last year, we have a film dealing with a subject that handles it in such a way that just feels refreshing. So that's kind of my go-ahead to watch this movie on HBO, only if it is something that you are emotionally ready for. You guys are the best. Thanks again. See you soon.